So last week, we talked about the word ger. One of our listeners feels that we are being arrogant in the view that ger does not mean proselyte, since many lexicons cite this as the definition. Why are you, my father Tim, why are you so confident about your stance on the word ger and that it doesn't mean proselyte? And what would you mean by the word proselyte?
Okay, well, whoever this person is who wrote this in, can we send him a copy of my fellow heirs?
We already did.
Okay, because that would be the longer answer, so I'll give a shorter one. First of all, the word proselytos is an old Greek word which existed a long time before the Septuagint was the translation of the Septuagint. Okay. And proselytos is one of the words that's used regularly to translate ger. Okay. Now, I would be now. I didn't listen to the show last week, Caleb, so I'm not up on it. But my position is that in the first century, in the time of Paul, there was some kind of ceremony by which the leaders of the Jewish communities were willing to grant legal Jewish status to a Gentile if that Gentile went through a particular ceremony. Now, we're not certain what that ceremony would have been or how detailed it was or whatever.
Okay, hang on just a sec. I'm going to play the role of Rob here because I think that Rob would interject that you're making a broad statement about communities. So was it one specific community? Was it larger communities? Each community had a different each community had maybe different rules or whatever,
okay.
Right?
I would be more than, I would agree with that. Okay. We don't know. But what we sense, particularly when we're reading Paul, is that when he went from various communities to other communities, he came to some communities that were troubled by this. And the community in Galatia was one of them. Okay, exactly what they were being told they had to do. I think circumcision was a prime element, at least in some communities, in order for a Gentile male to be given Jewish status. Okay, so all that to say, the term proselytos in the Greek, therefore, gained a new meaning or an added meaning. We have papyri that have been found, for instance, down in Egypt, that uses the term simply as foreigner. Simply as foreigner. So, as I've maybe said too many times, the words don't have meaning in and of themselves. They have meaning only in the context. When you read ger in the Hebrew Bible, you have to determine what it means in context. When it says, for instance, to Israel, that you shall treat the ger among you with love, with carefulness, because you yourself were gerim in Egypt. This cannot mean convert, right? I mean, Moses would not have said to the Israelites, you became converts in Egypt. It meant you were foreigners. Ger, in its primary sense, and this is across the board in a number of other Semitic languages besides Northwest Semitic Hebrew. You have a similar thing going on in Ugaritic and other languages. That ger simply means someone who is out of their own country, therefore do not have the right as a citizen or as a member of the country in which they are in or the government in which is over them. And so they're at a disadvantage. And sometimes ger is simply used that way. Ger sometimes is used and coupled with orphan and widow. Okay? So the idea that here's what I would challenge this person with. I would simply say, as John Adams said, facts are stubborn things. So show me, give me any indication, historical, literary text, whether it's an engraving, whether it's whatever it may be. Show me anywhere where a Gentile was given Jewish status, legal Jewish status, before the time of the Maccabees. I think it's clear that in the time of the Maccabees, this began. We have, if we can take the book of Maccabees, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, as having some historical reality, There were those who were forced to be circumcised or to be viewed as enemies to the Maccabean revolt. Okay, so a Jewish man who was uncircumcised, they said to him, in short, either become circumcised or you're our enemy.
So I think that the person that wrote this email to me also stated that our definition of conversion might be different, because this person says that that Abraham converted. They're not talking about a ritual of Judaism, whatever. So I'll give the person that fact. But what I think this word proselytos and proselyte has come to mean is someone who goes through a ritual of conversion.